Glad to see that you've made it back. We are on to one of the final videos of the 750 where I will be finishing the cosmetic aspect of the exterior. Watch along, let's get it done. Alright, so instead of filler right there, or in order to use less of it, heat. Heat is the answer. We're going to use heat. This screwdriver. So, really, just going to go from the backside and just get it hot. It's probably going to get ugly on the backside. It's a given. Let it try to catch on fire. And then I roll it, push it out. I just massage it, really. Use your eyes here. And so from here, it still dips right there. So let's heat it back up. So I just massage it on out while it cools off. Another thing is you can use compressed air to cool it quicker. So then, once you come back with this, you see how we missed all that with the day before. This is flat. That's why I like doing this. That was a lot quicker and a lot easier than using filler. I do the same thing right here. Just massage it on down. We're out. Still a bit of a low spot, but it's a lot less filler that we have to use now. So that's that easy. So now what I'm going to do is come back again, that, and towel. It's a lot better. So that helps scratch the top here. That's a big improvement. That's a big improvement. Still think though, this be brought out a little bit. Just get the right shape, because this is too aggressive right here. It needs to be about there. Heat, man, heat. It's the name of the game. And yes, I could be using a bigger torch, but this one's a little bit more nimble. It's the same thing done. Pull it out like this. And then just hold it. It's not on fire. And this can cool it too. Got some similar exothermic properties as water. One more round of that, and we should be where we need to be. Boom. That is what I like. That's what I like. That's how I like it. Solid. That's how you do it. Alright, so after some paint on the bottom part and on the top part, and some polishing. I didn't paint the shiny section, that was just polished out to this. This is what we did look like, minus the tape. But you see this garbage there, and not garbage here. Oh yeah. It's got dirt and what appears to be overspray from, I guess, when they did the hood before. But it was never properly cleaned, as you can see. So just that polish brought that to this. So I'm pretty damn happy that I don't have to paint that. I think for a driver's quality car, that's spectacular. Anyway, with that looking good, this is now a super eyesore. So we're gonna move on to here. I pull these little push pins out. I'll pop this back out, pop this one out, and pull this whole thing off so that we can get that painted. And this will be painted as well, along with that, and the other thingy right there. Again, with the trim black. But the way that the rest of this is going, I'm happy with that. And also, like I said, while this is off, I'm going to take this time to polish this top portion. We're also going to remove the headlights because I have new ones. Remove the grills. Remove this lower piece. See if we can polish that. Might end up being painted, honestly, just so that the whole front end, you know, fenders, under the marker light, move underneath that. This whole thing will look really good. I mean, just that. So that is really doing it for me. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's not good. That's not good. But that's pretty good. Now, of course, with that looking that good, we can't put this back on looking the way that it does. That's just not, that's not a done. The other thing that we're gonna do before we put this back on is clean all of that. That's just not cool looking, so get all that shit out of there too. To do that, it's very simple. Just spray the shit out of it with purple stuff. All up in there, around there. You know what I'm saying? And then they're good. And they're good. I don't want all that shit. Yep, there we go. And then power wash. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you feel it? Anyway, that was much harder than it needed to be. There's that. Now the front kidneys, ooh, I think they just pop in. Yeah. You rock out of that. Good deal. Ready to paint these too? I'll just wash all this shit. Now, now with that out of the way, and while that's drying, I'm going to flip this up and begin the 500 grit process on this fender. I'm going to take it pretty easy on the edges because I don't want to create more work than I have already. We're just going to scuff it and we're going to shoot. So we're going to grab a grate pad. I don't remember last time I used a grate pad. Alright. Grate pad. And that's what's going to handle these fun bits here. Particularly around the body line. That's what gray is really good for. So you have to try to chase that with the DA. So same thing back here. Under that body line. One thing I read a long time ago is that the places that you want to sand the least, like this, are the places that need it the most, because that is the first place that paint will run away from, you know, the surface. So whatever you don't want to sand is exactly what you should sand. Like I said, in my case, it's usually body lines, nooks and crevices, crannies, all that shit. So, scratch come right out. Anywhere that your DA can't go is where you're going to put this. Alright. Again, I didn't want to do these fenders, but the hood came out decent, and now these bright primer spots showing through. It's just not a good way to, it's not a good look. You know, it would look like I was being extra cheap. I'm already being cost, you know, I'm thinking about cost here, but I'm not trying to cheap out completely either. The contents of this box will go very nicely. Pop that open.
that there, and that there, and that there. It's hard to do left-handed. Ooh, about got. Got that open. See where we're going. Got that open. And bam! That's money. That's money. Those freeform headlights, we're not going to cut it. You can't have the front of the car look as good as it does and not have proper headlights. So these are sick. I just need to put the bottom adjuster on. For some reason they don't come pre-installed, but I've already done that on this one. And yeah, these are gonna look bananas. Could I have gone hella? Yes, I could have. But hella is also significantly more expensive. And again, the whole point of this car is to be a driver quality, a driver is what it's supposed to be. I had to keep telling myself this thing is going to eat me alive if I was going to do a full restoration on it. The way the market is right now, it just didn't make a lot of sense to, go full in, especially with my 31 and other projects that I've got. So I think buttoning this thing together the way that most people would if they owned one is really where it's at for this car. So these headlights, it's got the smileys on it. The front end's been redone. It's still got its patina and its wear and things like that. And so that's why I don't want to go too crazy with the paint either. Like, it's not going to be dead glass flat or anything like that, just because the rest of the car is not. I have to keep a theme going, and it has to be kind of consistent across the board in terms of like the quality of everything. So I didn't want to go too crazy, and I'm saying that now as a disclaimer. So if anybody wants to say, oh, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? You have to have a sense of balance when it comes to building a car. And that's true all the time. You have to find a healthy balance between, quality, money spent and all of that. Because it's very easy. I know how to get the good stuff. I know how to get the good paint. I know how to get the good, the Hellas instead of the Depots. I know how to get, all of that fun stuff. I know how to order new, brand new parts, but that's not super relatable. Whereas I'm doing all of this here at the house, which is something everybody can, get down with. Everyone is a, weekend warrior or whatever. That's what this car is supposed to be. Again, I have other cars that are going to get like the beans. This is the same thing that anybody that has a little bit of money, if they want to paint something, you can do that in your garage. If you want to, make the car look, a lot younger, or like it has a lot less miles on it, you can do that. That's what I'm trying to do, is appeal to a greater audience of people. That's, again, it's much more relatable. Like, I don't expect everyone to have access to a paint booth. Neither did I this time, or didn't feel like going through that process. So this is basically, again, me building a car in the driveway completely and showing you guys how I do it. I'm learning a lot as I do it every time, but that's where we're at. All right. So this is the old piece. It's not very great. It's freeform. It's dated. We don't like that. All you got to really do is transfer the turn signal over to that. I know I kind of briefly covered that, but we're gonna get into how that happens. So really, this is the same for E32 and E34. The only difference is that, well, turn signal is just a different shape. So there's 2 screws for that. That comes off. You can re-glue that, or you can take it off. I think it looks better with it. So that's pretty much it for this dinosaur. Now for this, if you buy a brand new one, it's probably going to come like mine did, where this is wiggly. It's supposed to be wiggly. So, take this off. And that is the bottom adjuster, so it's going to go in that hole. And they wrapped it very, very well. So feel free to go crazy with your knife. So this is taped and some other shit. So just kind of undress it a little bit. There's that. Easy enough. First thing you need to do is pop off the actual socket that goes into. And then I'm gonna stick this through, and it does go a certain way. So you just line up that, stick that through there, and then twist it backwards, so counterclockwise. Then, don't put that in yet. I'll tell you that I just found that out the hard way. So now it's just a series of twisting to get this threaded in. You can use an 8 or a 10 mil head on that. With an impact, it'd be faster, but so that's kind of coming through now. Since it's through, you take your socket and put it back on the screw or the screw. So do that and then keep on twisting. You got a minute. Now on the back of this part of the lamp housing itself, there is a slot, and this can only go in there one of two ways. You know, one way or 180 degrees the other way. And you would just make sure that that's there, and then push this against it if you're out far enough, which I'm not yet. Push it a little bit more. And that's it. So now that is on, and you can kind of look at it and see if it's about level, you know, eyeball it. And the other thing I noticed is that they come cocked that way, so your high beam's going straight. This is kind of facing that way. The way you fix that is with this one over here. So you can take a Phillips screw here and screw it inward. And that will straighten that out. We'll bring our beam back out that way. All right, now for this, again, easy enough. That's a packing set. Oh, hold on. Back action. Let's do both right now. So this is the driver's side piece. It just gets screwed on the same way you just took it off the old one. Got two slots, two squares, what you want to call it. There's one screw here. There's one screw there. And I'm not going to tighten these up a whole bunch because there's a little bit of room for movement. Like it can be basically slid, you know, any which way. So you don't want to try to force it on the car and then it's not quite in the right spot. So I tighten these up when it's actually on the car. So that's really what you end up with. I mean, that's a little bit too loose, but yeah, you can tighten that up and you can glue this to where it's not flapping about all over the place. And I'm also going to be polishing these lenses so that they look the part with the new glass that we've got. So just finger tight on that. Voila. And then same thing over here. Same problem. Stick that face down. Maybe 2 screws. So putting them in place. Same thing, just finger tight, nothing ridiculous. So they can be moved. Cool. There's that. Probably use some epoxy to glue the rubber surrounds on, but that just how you get a really nice looking set of headlights. So these are not ready to go on yet because they need bulbs and everything. They didn't come with bulbs. So do that before you install them. But 194s go on these. And then I think the others are H1s. And H1s in, yes, H1 in that. This one I believe is a, let's double check. We can get it open. That's also an H1. So easy enough with that. You'll get 4 H1s, reuse your old ones if they even came with that. And then, yeah, 194s up top. And then we reuse your turn signals. And that's that. Next up, kidneys. Again, good about new ones. They're also $100 and something a pair. Not a very necessary expense, if you ask me, when you can just restore them. The first thing you do, a lot of this. Are you gonna break some stuff? Possibly. But hopefully not. Good old-fashioned trim pullers. So what's happening is it's coming out of the backside. So you're just doing some good old-fashioned prying. Kept all of them intact. Good. All of them intact again. These window cleaners, steel wool, all you need. This window cleaner initially, gray Scotch-Brite, get in there. That microfiber, gray Scotch-Brite, quad grade, steel wool, just don't need a ton. Real lightly. You want to go scratching it, you know. Just real lightly on this. This will pull all that, whatever is on it, off in pretty short order. So that's why I go this route. Pretty much on all chrome surfaces. This is a winning recipe. There's that. Run this over it. Again, don't have to worry too much about it because the whole car's gotta get detailed anyway once it's all reassembled, but this is much better than that. Repeat. Great. Those are done. This preliminary wiping will be dirty. Just like that. Also, not obvious, use your finger to get in between the slats. You can get both sides of the microfiber, and you can cover, one section at a time, as opposed to each individual side of each individual slat at once. So, groovy. Got that. Same thing right here. Stick your whole lastly, bottom sides, top sides. And that's that. From here, wax and grease remover, this window cleaner, everything off of it. And when it comes to painting, I'm not gonna do that because setting up outside is a lot. But wax and grease remover over everything, do this exact same thing. Get in there, the dust, the wax, the grease, so on. And then just mist over it. I do light coats, probably 2 or 3 light coats. Just do one this way, and then flip it. Do one that way. Do one that way, and a pass that way. one over that. So that way you cover all of your angles, and then I will even go as far as to flip it around and just hit it from the back. And hit that part, that part, that part, and that part. That way you make sure you got good coverage. And again, it's just misting, so 2-3 coats of that, you're good to go. Also, in case it wasn't obvious, again, Scotch Brite around the outside surfaces too. All this is going to be shown. So just tossing that in there. This needs to happen because, again, it is visible. The slats are probably the hardest part for most people, so that's why I wanted to kind of zoom in on those and, you know, just make a point about it. So, again, good stuff on here. And then go around, again, the other exposed parts, that, and so on. So that's before. Take a good look at it. And that's after. Hook coats paint. Groovy. Kidneys. Center them. And they will effectively fall into place after that with a good dad slap. It's an upholsterer's term. Put that on there. I'll say a good soft squeeze. That. That corner in. Make sure they're all seated. Yep. There's that. That's money. Another pro tip is to paint all of this shit, or at least most of it. So like your horns, your AC lines, maybe the fan. It has a big impact on how, you know, the whole front of the car looks once everything is back on it. You don't want to have shiny grills and then oxidized shit back there. And that's the result. That looks much more appealing. I like it.
Here we go. This is a more accurate representation of what it looks like. It's so pretty. God. Yes, this is... That sounded sexual. I'm sorry. Anyway, you know, this thing's really pretty. I'm, again, elated. Especially, like, just in the shadow, you can really kind of see it. See that shit come out. It's great. It is great.
I can't wait till this car comes out. Because it's going to be hard. Just to show that there's no funk fakery going on here. This is straight up perfect. I'll say perfect, like it's got its imperfections in the paint that I can't get out. But that shit is laid. That's laid. Flat out. That is some laid paint.
You with it or you not react? Stay slashed. Either you with it or you not react.
So that shake from the first video is explained by this. Absolutely wrecked. Wrecked. Tie rods. We got new ones. Alright. So, going 40 miles an hour, it hasn't shaken itself apart yet. So that's great, because last time I drove it, first time I drove it, well, yeah, it would fall apart. Now the braking is still not the greatest. I mean, it's still, that can be control arms, so we'll have to inspect those next. But yeah, those tie rods were definitely shot. The ball joints were. I mean, this is still not that great in terms of braking. So I'm gonna have to do some more inspection on here, but we were able to get up to like 60 without having any issues in terms of the shakes. Before, you couldn't even take it hardly past 30-40 miles an hour without it falling apart. I obviously need an alignment too, but we'll wait till we get all the rest of that suspension stuff done. But for right now, it feels much better. All right, so now we're back at the house. One of the quickest ways you can tell without even looking at it is if you hit the brakes while it's kind of rolling forward. Let's see if the Rover, this is black, would be a little bit easier. But you can't see the reflection over there. Hold on. You can sort of see it. I can watch the wheel sit back while the car moves forward, which is a telltale sign that the control arm's got to go. So, it's our old control arm. It's really not that bad looking. The ball joint is much worse. The bushing up there is not terrible. This little green guy comes off, and what that revealed is nothing crazy, but you can see a little bit of dry rotting, and that compared to this, which we know is new, so it's not gonna hurt to get this thing on there. If this is the right one for this car, I believe it is. Turns out I had extra pairs of these things sitting around, so this is one pair. I have another pair in the house. Should go on there though.
News to me. E34 and E32 control arms are different, so I didn't order an extra set for this car. I ordered the set for this car, and I found this out because, well, I thought slightly different shape wasn't going to be a big deal, but then I looked at the length of it. That's a big deal, and I know this because my caster is terrible now. So, yeah, I gotta pull that back off. I gotta pull that one back off of here and put this one on it. Whoops. Okay, so it's hopefully debut day for the 750. Hopefully.
I think this is a good photo spot for this car. It very much fits the theme, you know, given what I saw here yesterday. I think this is a fantastic spot. Fantastic spot. It's relatively well kept. I mean, anything wrong with it, like those holes up there, the shingles, I can Photoshop that out, but I'm fucking with it. Like, I could see a shot like that. I could see shots back there, in there. I like it. Or there's option number 2, which is technically number 1. This is where I shot the blue E32. This house is kick-ass because she lets me shoot here basically whenever I want. That's hard. The sun, the way it comes through over there, is fantastic. So this is potential for spot number 2. Much more open, and the contrast between the car and the house is great. It also looks 90s rich as shit, because it is. knowing who these people are. So, I don't know. I really like the shots I got here before. Like, got one from like right here, got some from down there. So I think one was from like behind here. So I got it like there and here, and again right there. So I don't know.
So the rest of my time with this car, I took it out on the town a couple different times. I've taken it, out to just have a drink. I've taken it out to dinner. Well, taking it out to go have dinner. People love this thing. Like the amount of love it gets for the nostalgia that it provides is just, I think it's really something special. And that's kind of the thing that made me fall in love with it when it pulled up in my driveway, as you guys saw in the first video. So I took it up to Kansas City. I did, photo shoot up there, went to Cars and Coffee, things like that. Like I've had an absolute blast with this car, and I'm really glad that someone else has decided that they want to have it and they want to have fun with it and have their own experience with it. So I have a buyer for the car, and the next video and probably the last video that you guys see of this car is going to be making the final changes to it for his taste, and then we'll move on to the next one. So thanks for watching, guys.